I was just wanted to hop on here and talk to you all for a minute because there was something interesting that I hadn't thought about that recently occurred. I went to see a movie. I don't always get to go see a movie, but maybe a couple of weeks ago, I went to see a movie during the day, The Invisible Man, and it was a good movie, by the way. I thought it was very intense for the length of its movie. But anyway, I left there and I didn't think any more about it until I began to think about where we are as a nation, as a country, as a world right now. Having just seen The Invisible Man, it occurred to me that what makes this season with the coronavirus so difficult is we are fighting an invisible enemy. And an invisible enemy is always tough to fight because it does not, you can't confirm its presence with your senses. You don't know where it is. You're always on the edge to a degree. It makes you a little bit uncomfortable because it's hard to fight what you cannot see. And that really describes what we're going through right now with coronavirus. And people are uncomfortable and they're at dis-ease about fighting this invisible enemy. With this new name that we keep changing the name of, trying to understand just what all the coronavirus is and what it does, and it's disrupted our society to a degree, changed the way we operate, changed the way we live, changed the way we function, and our adaptability. Our ability to adapt is of paramount importance right now because for people who don't adapt well, they won't be able to survive well. You have to be somebody who's not stuck into a system. And so, because we're fighting something that we cannot see. And then I thought to myself, that's not new at all. I thought that was new. That's not new at all. We have always been fighting an invisible enemy. For we wrestle not with flesh and blood, but powers and principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places. We have always, as a church, been in a fight with an invisible enemy. We've had an invisible enemy for 2,000 years that lurked in the shadows, that hid in the bushes, that attacked in ways that we couldn't see. And thank God, since we must fight an invisible enemy, we also have an invisible weapon. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they are mighty through God for the pulling down of strongholds. We've always had to fight in the invisible. That's where the church really has an upper hand in this moment because we are used to spiritual warfare. We are used to fighting things that we cannot see, and we are used to getting victories in the spirit. And this is true here as well. You have to obey the rules. You have to walk worthy of the vocation you're called in. Just like now, we have to obey certain rules and distancing and so forth and so on in order to survive. But we are adept at spiritual warfare, and we have always fought invisible enemies. So think it not strange that these fiery trials have come upon us to try us. We must understand at the end of the day that everything that's done in darkness will be brought to light. And while we're waiting on it to be brought to light, we are adept and we are equipped for fighting invisible enemies. So those of you that understand that this is not a time to pick up the weapon of fear, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love. And watch this, a sound mind, a mind that doesn't run away with all kinds of wow, what ifs and maybe and sort of and woulda, coulda, shoulda. You can't afford, you must have a sound mind in this moment. And you must have a strategy because I believe anytime you have an opposition like this, and our whole world is facing this opposition, in every opposition there is an opportunity. Look for it. Yeah, look for it. There's an opportunity in every opposition. When you find that opportunity, you can turn ashes into beauty. You can turn mourning into dancing. You can change financial insecurity into invention and creativity. There is something that God is going to do in the midst of this storm that's going to work in your favor. So let us not be dismayed like carnal people who are always used to fighting things that they can see. Let us use the fact that we are adept at spiritual warfare to arm ourselves in such a way that we are not thrown off by the fact that we're fighting an invisible enemy. We have an invisible weapon. We have an invisible power. We have an invisible God. We understand spiritual warfare, and this is a time for the church to be the church. You can't just lean on your pastor right now. You can't lean on fellowship with the saints. This is a time for you to activate what you have inside of yourself to stop, first of all, the virus of fear, the virus of depression, the virus of insecurity. And then while we're praying for this, fighting this coronavirus, we've got to fight all these spiritual viruses the enemy is trying to inject into your life. So I wanted to take just a moment and speak to you from a pastoral perspective and tell you to be steadfast, unmovable, and always abounding in the work of the Lord. For we know that our labor is not in vain. Hug your children today. Check on your grandparents. Get on the phone and send people words of encouragement. You can send them this. Whatever you need to do. Repost it. Remind yourself of it. Go back and rehearse it. And get out your spiritual weapons, because we know how to handle invisible enemies. God bless you.